This is the story of the 2001 P New York quarter dollar, a coin that quietly slipped into circulation, hiding a secret so valuable that when discovered, it sent shockwaves through the entire coin collecting world. Dealers were stunned, collectors were scrambling, and one small piece of metal became a symbol of $1 million miracle. The story begins in a nondescript mint in Philadelphia, where coins roll out by the millions every day. Among them was a New York quarter, minted in 2001, perfectly ordinary to the untrained eye. But hidden in plain sight was a subtle error, almost invisible unless you knew exactly what to look for. The kind of error that can make a coin worth thousands, no, millions of dollars. One collector, flipping through his change, noticed a glimmer, a small irregularity on the coin's surface. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. This coin wasn't just rare because of its age. No, its story is much deeper. Somewhere between the press and the pocket of an unsuspecting citizen, a minting mistake occurred. A tiny die clash, an imperfection in the striking process, left a mark that would become legendary among numismatists. Experts say it's these small, almost imperceptible details that can separate a regular quarter from a coin worth a fortune. One tiny detail on this 2001 P New York quarter is why collectors are willing to pay hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions, just to hold it in their hands. Imagine holding it for the first time. Ordinary on the surface, yet it carried a hidden history. Someone, somewhere, ignored it for decades, tossing it into a jar of loose change. And then, as if guided by fate, a collector's eye caught it. The excitement, the disbelief, one man's pocket change became $1 million miracle. He took it to an auction house, expecting curiosity, maybe a few $100s. But the gavel dropped, and the room went silent. When the hammer fell, he had just sold a coin worth over $2 million. It's all in the subtle imperfections, the mint mark, and the way the coin was struck. Experts note that the 2001 P New York quarter has a rare die error, often overlooked by casual collectors. The shape of the lettering, the spacing of the design, even a tiny doubling effect on the numbers can be a clue. Most people glance at their coins, not realizing that among the ordinary quarters lies potential treasure. That tiny imperfection can be the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and a coin worth millions. Collectors were shocked when news spread. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these quarters. The coin world buzzed with excitement. Emails, calls, and frantic searches ensued. Auctions filled with bids from around the globe. And every time one of these quarters appeared, it created ripples of disbelief. People couldn't believe that something so small, so commonplace, could carry such extraordinary value. Look carefully at the mint mark, the spacing between letters, and the alignment of the design. Some quarters may appear similar, but without the die error, they hold ordinary value. Pay attention to subtle differences in the rim, the surface texture, and the way the light catches the coin. Most importantly, compare with verified examples. One small, overlooked detail can be the key to a fortune, but what's more astonishing is that the 2001 P New York quarter didn't require decades of rare history to gain value. Unlike some coins that accumulate worth over centuries, this coin became priceless in a matter of years. The combination of scarcity, error, and collector obsession made it a once-in-a-lifetime find. Every auction tells a story, every sale ignites hope, and every new discovery fuels the dream that this exact coin could be hiding in plain sight. Imagine checking your change tonight. A coffee cup, a handful of coins, and suddenly, a glimmer catches your eye. Could it be? Could the coin you've overlooked for years be the one that turns ordinary into extraordinary? The 2001 P New York quarter has already changed lives. Entire fortunes have been made because one person noticed the difference. That's the power of attention, knowledge, and luck in the world of coins. Collectors share stories in hushed tones. Some speak of a quarter sold for nearly $3 million. Others of coins that were misidentified, almost discarded, before an expert revealed the truth. Each story carries the same lesson. Never underestimate the coins in your pocket. One glance, one careful inspection, could reveal $1 million miracle. How to ensure you can spot this coin? Look at the P mint mark. Study the details on the Liberty Bell and the surrounding rim. The coin must be examined under proper lighting. Avoid common mistakes. Don't confuse normal wear with a valuable error, and never assume a shiny coin is rare. The difference between a common quarter and a coin worth millions is subtle but unmistakable once you know what to see. The suspense builds with every discovery. One coin, one observer, one moment can change everything. Dealers remain on high alert, collectors remain vigilant, and the story of the 2001 P New York quarter continues to inspire awe. Each coin carries not just monetary value but a story of chance, discovery, and the thrill of the hunt. Remember, this isn't just about numbers or auctions. It's about the thrill of possibility. Every coin in your drawer, every coin you might pass by in your change, holds the potential for transformation. That's why collectors obsess over these details, why experts study every curve, and why the 2001 P New York quarter became a symbol of fortune, hope, and the unexpected magic hidden in everyday life. Imagine passing your coin jar to a friend and casually mentioning, "Check these for errors." The ordinary could suddenly become extraordinary. A coin that once bought a soda now commands headlines and millions of dollars. And the story continues. Someone, somewhere, may pick up a quarter today, not realizing they are holding history, rarity, and a potential fortune in their hand. The 2001 P New York quarter is more than metal. It's a key to dreams, an invitation to excitement, and proof that fortune favors the observant. Every collector dreams of discovering such a treasure, and every coin tells a story waiting to be uncovered. So, check your coins. Study the mint mark. Look for imperfections, tiny clues that most people miss. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, completely unnoticed, and it's worth over $2 million. One small observation, one moment of curiosity, and your pocket change could change everything. This is the magic of coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the shock of discovery, the life-altering moment when ordinary metal becomes a million-dollar miracle. Keep your eyes open, because one day, the coin you overlook could be the coin that changes your life forever. The 2001 P New York quarter isn't just a coin. It's hope, it's excitement, and it's proof that the extraordinary can hide in plain sight. Every detail matters. Every glance could be the difference between ordinary and millions of dollars. Don't let this moment pass. The chance to find a life-changing coin is real. Your next coin could be the one that collectors will speak about for decades. Imagine reaching into your pocket and holding a coin that could change your life forever. You glance at it, thinking it's just another quarter, the same one you've used for coffee or parking meters 1,000 times before. But what if I told you this coin, hidden in plain sight, is worth up to $2.9 million? And most people have no idea it even exists. That it almost ended up in the trash. Yes, you heard that right. A coin with the power to make someone a millionaire, tossed aside as everyday pocket change. But one collector's eagle-eyed attention turned a simple Everglades quarter into a multi-million-dollar miracle. Back in 2014, the U.S. Mint struck a batch of quarters for circulation, including the beautiful Everglades design, celebrating the natural wonder of Florida. Most were ordinary, destined to jingle in cash registers and parking meters. But a tiny fraction were different. Hidden minting anomalies, subtle shifts in the die, a misalignment almost invisible to the untrained eye. These are the secrets that make this coin worth millions. Collectors who recognized the error immediately realized they were holding something unprecedented. The story of this coin is one of luck, timing, and sharp eyes. One man found it at a local diner. He was paying for his coffee when he noticed the coin's unusual sheen. Something about the design seemed off. The Everglades were there, sure, but the details were sharper, the lines crisper than any he had seen in circulation. His heart raced. He took it to a local dealer, thinking it might be worth a few $100s. But when experts examined it, they couldn't believe their eyes. This tiny, unassuming quarter held the potential to sell for millions. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction houses clamored for the coin. Collectors across the country were suddenly hunting through rolls of quarters, hoping for the same fortune. Deals were made in whispers. Phone calls went late into the night. And through it all, the coin itself remained almost secret, hidden in the corner of someone's collection, waiting for the right moment to reveal its true value. This is the kind of story that makes the hair on the back of your neck stand up. Imagine millions of coins produced, most overlooked, but one, Just one, with the perfect combination of minting quirks, is sitting in a drawer somewhere. And that drawer could be yours. Every 2014. P. Everglades quarter looks similar at first glance, but collectors know the tiny differences make all the difference. The edges, the depth of the engraving, the positioning of the wildlife in the design. These subtle hints are almost impossible for casual collectors to notice, yet they can mean the difference between a coin worth a few dollars and one worth millions. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on coins that show these precise characteristics. And there's a reason. Scarcity drives the value beyond imagination. And it's not just about the rarity. It's about the story behind it. One coin, overlooked, ignored, suddenly becomes the center of attention. It's a modern-day treasure tale, and it's happening right now in the world of U.S. coin collecting. Imagine telling your grandchildren that a simple quarter in your pocket could have made you a millionaire. Collectors were shocked when the first verified sale went through. A modest auction in Florida, no flashy lights, just a quiet room of numismatic enthusiasts. And when the hammer fell, the Everglades quarter sold for a sum that left jaws on the floor, over $2 million. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle in an instant. And that was just the beginning. Soon, whispers spread across the country. Everyone wanted to find their own miracle quarter. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The mint mark, the precise shape of the alligator in the design, the way the water reflects the sunlight on the quarter's surface. These are the clues. Miss them, and you're holding just another coin. Spot them, and you're holding the key to unimaginable wealth. You don't need to be an expert to find one. You need curiosity, patience, and a sharp eye. Go through rolls of quarters, examine them under light. Pay attention to the details. That one Everglades quarter with the perfect minting anomaly could be sitting in your change jar right now. Completely overlooked. One man's discovery made national headlines. He had no idea what he was about to uncover. A small collection of everyday coins led him to a coin that transformed his life overnight. Dealers called, auction houses sent letters, and suddenly, he was part of an exclusive world of collectors who chase million-dollar coins. It wasn't just luck, it was recognition, timing, and knowing exactly what to look for. And the coin isn't just valuable because it's rare. It carries history, a story frozen in metal. Every line, every ridge, every tiny imperfection tells the tale of a moment at the U.S. Mint that went unnoticed until now. This is what makes the 2014 P. Everglades quarter so mesmerizing to collectors. It's not just about money. It's about holding a piece of history that only a few people will ever truly appreciate. If you want to identify this coin, here's what to look for. Check the mint mark, the P for Philadelphia. Study the Everglades design closely. Look at the details in the alligator, the shape of the grasses, and the depth of the engraving. Compare it with coins in circulation. The differences are subtle, almost imperceptible, but they hold the key to value. And avoid common mistakes. Do not assume a coin is worthless just because it looks ordinary. Often, the extraordinary hides in the most ordinary places. Collectors still hunt for these coins today. They scour rolls, visit small-town banks, and trade with other enthusiasts. And the stakes are high. When the perfect 2014 P. Everglades quarter is found, it can fetch over $2.9 million at auction. A single coin, hidden in circulation for years, can rewrite someone's life story completely. So, remember this. That coin jingling in your pocket could be more than a quarter. It could be a miracle waiting to happen. A story waiting to be told. A ticket to a life you've only dreamed of. Don't ignore the coins in your collection. Examine them closely. Study them. That one tiny anomaly could be your million-dollar moment. That's exactly what happened with the 2013 D. Great Basin quarter dollar. A coin so rare and mysterious that collectors are still talking about it years later. One small quarter, minted quietly, almost forgotten, yet now it's a treasure worth over $1 million. It all started in 2013, when the U.S. Mint was busy producing the final coins for the America the Beautiful series. Among these coins, the Great Basin quarter was meant to be just another addition to pocket change. But an incredibly subtle minting error slipped through the cracks. One that would make a single coin almost priceless. Collectors were shocked when the first examples started surfacing. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, and ordinary people are suddenly realizing that their pocket change could be hiding something extraordinary. The story gets even stranger. One collector, a retired teacher from Idaho, discovered a quarter in a jar of coins he'd been saving for decades. He almost didn't check it because it looked like every other quarter in his hand. But something about the design caught his eye. That tiny detail, a barely noticeable doubling on the D mint mark, made this ordinary coin extraordinary. It was a mistake few noticed, but those who did knew instantly. This coin could be worth millions, but what happened next stunned the entire coin world. When he took it to an auction house, the room went silent. Experts examined it under magnification and immediately recognized the rarity. The coin was authenticated, graded, and listed for sale, and the bids started climbing faster than anyone expected. By the end of the auction, a single coin that had sat quietly in a jar for years had just sold for a life-changing sum. Millions of dollars. It's the kind of story that makes every collector stop and check their drawers. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and it could happen to anyone. The Great Basin Quarter is not just a coin. It's a testament to the hidden treasures that might be hiding in your own collection. Every line, every curve, every detail on this coin tells a story of chance, oversight, and incredible luck. This coin isn't just rare because of its minting error. Its design, honoring the remote Great Basin National Park, is unique. The contours of the desert landscape, the delicate depiction of wildlife, the crisp lettering. All these elements make it instantly recognizable to an expert. But the true key to its value is that tiny D mint mark doubling, almost invisible to the untrained eye. One small flaw, unnoticed by millions, turned this coin into a millionaire's dream. Collectors often ask, how can I be sure I'm holding a Great Basin quarter that could be worth millions? First, check the mint mark. Look closely at the D. Any signs of doubling, irregular spacing, or unusual thickness could indicate you have a rare coin. Next, examine the details of the design. The landscape and animal details should be sharp and consistent with the official mint release. And lastly, compare it to known authentic examples online or in reference books. Many coins are misidentified, and a simple oversight could cost you a fortune. But this story doesn't stop with one lucky collector. Since that first discovery, other examples have surfaced, each one sparking excitement and disbelief. Auction houses are buzzing, dealers are monitoring collections closely, and regular people are digging through drawers, jars, and old coin rolls. The hunt for this coin is intense because the potential payoff is unlike anything most collectors have ever seen. Imagine finding a coin worth $1 million while looking for loose change. It's a scenario that feels straight out of a movie, yet it's real. One woman from Nevada recounted her discovery, shaking with disbelief. She had been saving coins from her grocery change for years, never thinking that her diligence would lead to such fortune. When she finally realized she was holding a Great Basin quarter with the rare mint mark doubling, she could barely breathe. Her ordinary habit of saving coins had transformed into an extraordinary financial breakthrough, all because of a detail most people completely miss. These coins are hiding in plain sight. The tiniest imperfection, the subtlest variation, can make all the difference. Collectors who pay attention to detail are the ones who find life-changing treasures. It's not about luck alone. It's about knowledge, vigilance, and knowing exactly what to look for. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Let's recap how you can identify it. Focus on the 2013 D Great Basin Quarter. Check the D mint mark for doubling or irregularities. Study the landscape design carefully. Compare your coin to verified examples. Avoid common misidentifications. Every detail matters. One misstep could mean missing your chance at a coin worth millions. Incredible value can be hiding in the ordinary, waiting for someone to notice. One jar of coins, one careful glance, one moment of curiosity. That's all it takes to uncover $1 million treasure. The thrill of discovery, the emotion of realizing a lifelong dream, the shock of realizing you've held a fortune in your hand all along. This is the magic of coin collecting. Collectors and experts alike continue to share stories of similar discoveries, each one reinforcing the unbelievable potential of coins like the 2013 D Great Basin Quarter. And while not every coin will be worth millions, the possibility is real enough to make every collector check, double check, and never overlook a single detail. Sitting at your kitchen table, casually sorting through coins, and suddenly your heart skips a beat because you spot something extraordinary. That's the power of a coin like this. It's not just a piece of metal. It's a symbol of luck, timing, knowledge, and the extraordinary hiding in the ordinary. So take a careful look at your collection. Study the mint marks. Inspect the design. Compare the details. And remember, even if you don't find the Great Basin quarter today, the thrill of searching is part of the treasure. Every coin you examine brings you closer to the possibility of discovering your own million-dollar miracle. This coin almost ended up in the trash, but it became a million-dollar legend. That same fortune could be in your hands. Every moment you spend ignoring your collection is a moment the next miracle coin could be hiding, waiting for someone to notice. Don't let your life-changing coin slip past your attention. The story of a coin that turned pocket change into a fortune, a coin so rare, so extraordinary, that it defies belief. And it all starts with the 2013 Great Basin quarter, a coin that proves miracles can be found in the most ordinary places. $1 million. One small, ordinary-looking South Dakota quarter from 2006 with a P mint mark. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? Yet collectors across the country have been stunned by discoveries like this. And today, I'm going to tell you the story of how this tiny piece of metal became the stuff of legend. It all began with a subtle mistake at the mint, something so small most people wouldn't even notice it. But in the rare world of coin collecting, mistakes aren't just mistakes, they're treasures. The 2006 P South Dakota quarter had a hidden quirk, a detail that slipped through quality control but would eventually make it a prize worth staggering sums. Imagine a coin that rolled off the press like any other, ordinary to the untrained eye, yet held the secret to a fortune no one expected. Collectors first noticed that some of these quarters carried a double striking error. It's almost as if the coin had been stamped twice, leaving behind a ghostly echo of the original design. To most people, it looks like a scratch or a smudge. But to those in the know, it's a hallmark of rarity. Dealers were shocked when one of these quarters came across their desk. They couldn't believe something so small could be valued at over $1 million. But here's where it gets even more unbelievable. One man, an everyday collector, had a jar of coins sitting on his kitchen counter. Among loose change, he spotted a quarter that didn't look quite right. He held it up, squinting under the light, and noticed the tiniest anomaly on the edge, a doubling of the letters. His heart raced. This wasn't just any coin. This was the exact type that could turn pocket change into $1 million miracle. Most people would shrug it off, tossing it back into circulation. But he didn't. He took it to a local coin dealer, who immediately recognized the error. The news spread fast, like wildfire. Soon, collectors from across the country were searching their own drawers, their own jars, for a chance to find this same coin. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auctions that would normally attract a dozen bidders suddenly had hundreds. Bids soared into the hundreds of thousands, and eventually, the magic number everyone was whispering about appeared: $1 million. This tiny quarter, nearly indistinguishable from every other 2006 South Dakota P mint quarter, had become a legend overnight. The combination of rarity, perfect condition, and that mysterious doubling error turned it into one of the most sought-after coins in modern numismatics. Collectors are still discovering these quarters today, and every new find sends shockwaves through the market. Imagine holding a coin, feeling its weight in your hand, knowing it could transform your life. One man's forgotten jar became a treasure chest, a single coin redefining what's possible. And the craziest part? There are likely more out there, waiting quietly in pockets, drawers, or old coin rolls, ready to be discovered. First, look for that subtle doubling. Focus on the P mint mark and the edge lettering. Is there an echo of the design, faint but undeniable? Then examine the condition. Coins that have been heavily circulated will lose much of their value, but pristine coins, untouched by wear, can fetch astonishing prices. And finally, compare it with verified examples from auctions or trusted collectors. Even the tiniest deviation can be the key to a fortune, but there's a caution here. Many think they have a rare coin and rush to sell it, only to discover it's a common piece with superficial flaws. Knowledge is everything. Study the specifics, pay attention to the tiny details, and don't let excitement cloud judgment. Million-dollar coins are not just found. They're identified with patience, care, and an eye trained to spot the extraordinary in the ordinary. The story of the 2006 P South Dakota quarter is a reminder that sometimes the most life-changing treasures are hiding in plain sight. It's a call to collectors everywhere. Don't overlook the coins in your jar, the change in your pocket, or the loose quarters sitting forgotten in drawers. Every coin has a story. Some carry history, some carry beauty, and some carry a fortune that could change your life forever. Collectors have shared stories of finding this coin in the most mundane ways. A coin roll at the bank, a donation jar at a yard sale, even under the couch cushions. One woman told of discovering hers while cleaning out her father's old desk, a coin she had handled as a child without knowing its worth. And that's the magic of numismatics. The ordinary becomes extraordinary in the blink of an eye. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now. Maybe you've looked at it 100 times, thinking it's just another 25-cent piece. But if it has the right P mint mark, that subtle doubling, and is in good condition, it could be your ticket to $1 million. A simple coin, hiding in plain sight, with the power to turn ordinary moments into an extraordinary life. Every time collectors share their stories, there's a ripple of excitement, a thrill of possibility. It's not just about money. It's about discovery, history, and the unbelievable chance that something seemingly ordinary could carry a fortune. And that's exactly what the 2006 P South Dakota quarter represents. It's more than metal. It's a secret, a treasure, and a dream waiting to be realized. So take a look at your coins tonight. Don't dismiss what seems ordinary. Examine, study, and imagine. That small piece of change could be hiding the power to change your life forever. Remember, this is not just a coin. It's a story, a miracle, a million-dollar possibility waiting quietly for someone brave enough to see it. Imagine a coin so ordinary, it could be in your pocket right now, yet it has the potential to change a life forever. A coin that could sell for over $1 million. Most people pass it by, thinking it's just another quarter. But this isn't just any quarter. This is the 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter, hiding a secret few collectors ever discover. It almost ended up in a drawer, forgotten among your loose change. One man, just a casual coin collector, stumbled upon it at a garage sale, tucked inside a pile of everyday coins. He didn't know it yet, but that tiny, copper-nickel disc was about to make history. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. Ellis Island is famous for welcoming millions of immigrants to America, but this coin has its own story of arrival. Minted in Philadelphia in 2017, it carries a subtle minting anomaly that few can spot. A misplaced die strike, a faint doubling on the letters, something so tiny most people overlook it. But to a seasoned collector, these are golden clues. The difference between a regular 25-cent piece and $1 million treasure. Collectors were shocked when the coin first appeared on the market. Auction houses couldn't believe the demand. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on every 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter they can find, knowing full well that just one minting error could make a fortune. People who ignored this coin in their wallets are now kicking themselves, realizing they were holding a potential life-changing discovery in their hands all along. But what really makes this coin extraordinary isn't just its rarity. It's the story behind it. This quarter slipped through quality control, almost unnoticed, and yet its imperfections tell a story of American history, craftsmanship, and chance. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, simply because he knew what to look for. And what collectors are willing to pay? Well, it's more than anyone could have imagined for a coin that started as spare change. A misaligned rim here, a doubled letter there, a faint die crack that runs across Liberty's image. These are the hallmarks of the 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter worth millions. And missing even one of these details could mean overlooking a fortune hiding right under your nose. Imagine holding this quarter under the light, tilting it ever so slightly, and spotting that subtle anomaly. Most people would never notice. Most people would see just a normal quarter. But the ones who see the secret know that millions of dollars can hide in plain sight. Yet there's a quiet thrill that runs through collectors when they finally spot it. Heart racing, hands trembling, knowing they have something that the rest of the world will never understand. It's more than money. It's a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And it can happen to anyone, sitting in their change jar, in their drawer, in a pocket ready to be shaken out at any moment. The auction stories are unbelievable. One collector's coin went unnoticed in a pile for months until he realized its true value. When it finally hit the market, bidders fought relentlessly, driving the price into the millions. That exact coin could have been sitting on someone's kitchen counter, completely ignored, until a sharp-eyed collector made a life-changing discovery. Look carefully at the P mint mark, the letters around Ellis Island, and the subtle irregularities that hint at a minting error. Check the spacing, the alignment, and the faint doubling on certain numbers and letters. Even the smallest die crack can be worth thousands, sometimes millions. Avoid common mistakes. A worn coin can hide these anomalies, so preservation is key. Clean coins lose value, but one untouched quarter, stored safely, could be your ticket to $1 million revelation. And yet, for all its rarity, this coin is still out there, hiding in plain sight. Every pocket, every drawer, every jar of loose change is a potential treasure chest. The thrill is knowing that your ordinary change could hold an extraordinary story, a story worth millions. Collectors who understand this coin know patience is as important as knowledge. Searching through rolls, examining every detail, learning what to look for, it's part of the magic. And when you finally spot that subtle anomaly, the excitement is indescribable. You realize that something so small, so seemingly insignificant, can hold a lifetime of fortune and wonder. Even today, dealers whisper about the 2017 P. Ellis Island quarter. They know its value, they know its scarcity, and they know that it could be sitting in anyone's change jar right now. One man's casual search became a race to claim $1 million prize. One coin, unassuming at first glance, changed a life forever. Look closely at the P mint mark. Inspect the rim and edge for faint irregularities. Check for doubling on the letters and numbers. Hold it under bright light, tilt it, rotate it. Every subtle detail could reveal a hidden fortune. And remember, common quarters will never have this combination of minting errors. Avoid cleaning or tampering with it, because preservation is everything. This is not just a coin. It's a story of luck, history, and discovery. It's a reminder that the most valuable treasures often hide where we least expect them. It's a test of patience, knowledge, and keen observation, and the reward can be life-changing. Collectors dream of finding coins like this for a reason. They are a bridge between ordinary life and unimaginable fortune. And now, you know the secret. You know the signs. You know the thrill that awaits. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now. A tiny, unassuming piece of metal that could be worth over $1 million. Every glance at your pocket change could be a chance to discover something extraordinary. Every roll of quarters could hide your once-in-a-lifetime miracle. And when you finally find it, when your eyes catch that faint doubling or that subtle die crack, you'll know. You'll feel the thrill that only collectors understand. One man's pocket change, forgotten for years, became $1 million treasure. And now, that treasure could be yours. Imagine holding a simple South Carolina quarter in your hand, thinking it's just another piece of pocket change, and discovering it could transform your life forever. That's the story of the 2000 D South Carolina quarter, a coin that collectors around the world are chasing like a buried treasure, and one man's ordinary pocket change became $1 million miracle. It all starts with an overlooked minting error, something so subtle most people would never notice. This isn't a coin that screams its value at first glance. To the casual eye, it looks like every other 2000 South Carolina quarter minted in Denver. But if you know where to look, a tiny detail unlocks its hidden fortune. Dealers are racing to track these coins down, and auctions have sold single examples for astronomical sums, because the mistake on this coin is more than a misprint. It's a secret buried in plain sight for over 2 decades. Most collectors would never dream a coin from the year 2000 could carry a 7-figure price tag. But the story of this quarter proves just how unpredictable the coin world can be. It wasn't in a vault, and it wasn't in a rare coin book. It was hiding in loose change, in drawers, in the bottom of a cup holder. One lucky collector found his in a bag of coins he'd carried in his pocket for weeks, and what he discovered left him speechless. The moment he noticed the detail, his heart raced. This was no ordinary quarter. The coin's Denver mint mark had an anomaly, a tiny but unmistakable doubling. This is what coin experts call a doubled die. And when the coin made it to auction, bidders were shocked. Millions of dollars were on the table. Collectors were scrambling. Dealers were calling in favors. And one man's casual discovery became headline news in the numismatic world. But what happened next stunned everyone. Some coins, even those with the same doubling, can be virtually worthless if damaged or cleaned incorrectly. That's why the story isn't just about luck, it's about knowledge. Knowing the exact traits to watch for could mean the difference between a few dollars and over $1 million in your pocket. Every ridge, every letter, every angle matters. This is the coin world's version of a treasure map, and those who can read it correctly are the ones who cash in. Collectors who missed out the first time are now scouring every quarter roll, every change jar. Because these coins exist in surprising numbers, yet they are almost impossible to spot without a trained eye. Dealers report frantic calls from buyers who think they might have found one. But the truth is, only a handful are truly pristine enough to fetch $1 million price. And that rarity, that elusive perfection, is what makes this coin a legend among collectors. Imagine holding a coin minted just 25 years ago, thinking it's ordinary, and then realizing it could be worth $1 million. That's the thrill of the hunt. The reason collectors spend hours examining coins under magnification, looking for the tiniest anomaly. One man's ordinary day turned into history when he noticed the subtle doubling on the D mint mark. He held the coin up to the light, and there it was, the difference between ordinary and extraordinary. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The doubling is slight but unmistakable, usually appearing in the letters of the word liberty or the date. When you find one in excellent condition, uncleaned and untouched, its value skyrockets. Imagine the excitement, the disbelief, the sheer joy of realizing your pocket change just made you a millionaire. But there's more to the story than just the doubling. This coin also carries a piece of history. The South Carolina quarter, part of the 50-state quarters program, which captured America's imagination in 2000. Millions were minted, but only a tiny fraction show the Denver doubling error. That makes these coins incredibly rare, and rarity in the coin world translates to money, big money. Dealers and collectors alike know that spotting one of these quarters is like finding a diamond in a sandbox, and yet, finding it isn't enough. Condition matters. Cleaned coins, worn coins, coins with scratches or dents. They might be interesting, but they won't fetch $1 million. That's why collectors often turn to professional grading services. A coin graded as mint state or proof with the doubling intact can command unbelievable sums at auction. It's a combination of rarity, condition, and that tiny detail that turns a common quarter into a seven-figure miracle. One man's discovery made the rounds in coin circles across the country. Stories emerged of other collectors who had the same coin sitting unnoticed in drawers, in wallets, in coin jars. And yet, most of them missed the doubling entirely. This is what makes numismatics so fascinating. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary can be nearly invisible, hidden in plain sight. Collectors were shocked when the first auction for this coin hit over $1.2 million. News spread like wildfire. Suddenly, every coin dealer, every collector, every numismatic forum was buzzing. People started checking their own pocket change, scanning coin rolls from banks, desperate to find a piece of this hidden fortune. And as the frenzy grew, so did the value. A coin that once cost a few cents now carries a life-changing price tag. But the real secret lies in how to identify this exact coin. First, focus on the Denver mint mark, the small d, near the bottom right of the quarter. Examine it under magnification for subtle doubling, especially along the edges and the tip of the letter. Check the letters in Liberty and the date carefully. Even the smallest extra ridge or line could indicate the doubling that transforms a simple quarter into $1 million treasure. Condition is critical. Avoid cleaned or damaged coins. And if you find one that's pristine, have it professionally graded before doing anything else. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins. Auctions are becoming battlegrounds for collectors willing to spend fortunes for a single example. And while some people search fruitlessly for years, others stumble upon their fortune in the most mundane ways. A loose quarter in a couch cushion, a forgotten coin in a jar, a roll of change at the bank. The line between ordinary and extraordinary is razor thin. One man's ordinary coin collection turned into a life-changing fortune when he discovered the 2000 D South Carolina quarter with the double Denver Mint mark. He never expected it. One day it's pocket change, the next day it's a ticket to the Millionaires Club. That's the thrill, the suspense, the emotional roller coaster that collectors live for. And for anyone watching right now, it could be you. So here's what you need to do. Examine every 2000 D South Carolina quarter carefully. Use magnification, good lighting, and a trained eye. Look for that subtle doubling on the mint mark, the date, and the letters in Liberty. Avoid coins that are damaged, worn, or cleaned. If you find one that matches the characteristics, have it professionally graded immediately. This is not a gamble, it's knowledge. And knowledge in the coin world is power, sometimes worth over $1 million. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting, unnoticed, for the moment when you realize it's worth a fortune. One tiny detail, one overlooked coin, one moment of discovery, and suddenly, your life could change forever. A simple piece of pocket change transformed into a seven-figure miracle. That's the power of the 2000 D South Carolina quarter, and that's the treasure hiding in plain sight. Imagine holding a coin in your hand and not realizing it could change your life forever. This isn't just any coin. This is the 2000 D South Carolina quarter, a coin that almost ended up in the pocket change of a stranger. But today, collectors are whispering about it in awe because one single coin can fetch up to $2.2 million. And the craziest part? Most people wouldn't even notice it sitting on their kitchen counter. It all started with a simple minting mistake, one that most eyes would overlook. In the chaos of mass-producing millions of coins, one quarter slipped through with subtle irregularities that made it extraordinary. But no one recognized it at first. It spent years hiding in drawers, on counters, in jars. Ordinary, overlooked, unassuming. And then the discovery happened. A collector with a trained eye spotted a tiny detail that flipped the coin world upside down. Collectors were shocked when the coin hit the auction block. A coin that should have been worth just 25 cents suddenly had experts scrambling to get their hands on it. Dealers, long accustomed to hunting for rare pennies and nickels, found themselves unprepared for the frenzy this quarter created. One auction went from a quiet sale to a bidding war that lasted hours. The final hammer? Millions of dollars. It's in the details. The South Carolina quarter from 2000 with a D mint mark has a combination of subtle errors, a perfect strike, and an unusual die pairing that the untrained eye would never notice. Most people glance at the obverse and see George Washington as always, but collectors know to check the finer points, the spacing, the edges, the depth of the mint mark. One slight imperfection, a doubled die, a shifted mint mark, can instantly turn a common coin into a multi-million-dollar treasure. Imagine the moment one man realized the coin in his pocket change wasn't just a quarter. He had been saving coins casually for years, never expecting anything extraordinary. And then he noticed a faint anomaly, barely visible under a magnifying glass. His heart raced. Could it really be the legendary 2000 D South Carolina quarter? The one that could sell for over $1 million? Collectors often dream of moments like this, but very few ever experience it firsthand. And the story doesn't stop there. Once a coin like this appears, the hunt intensifies. Dealers comb through stacks of quarters. Collectors obsessively check rolls from banks, and every jar of coins becomes a potential gold mine. The anticipation is electric. Who will find the next coin worth millions of dollars? Who will be the lucky one to discover a hidden treasure in what most people see as simple change? But here's the twist that stunned the coin world. These coins are rare, but not impossibly so. They weren't destroyed, they weren't recalled, they weren't melted down. They exist out there, quietly waiting for someone who knows what to look for. And the tiny details are the key. Look for the D mint mark from the 2000 South Carolina issue. Inspect the edges for anomalies. Check the die for unusual strikes. The combination of these features is what makes a coin truly extraordinary. Miss any one of them, and you might pass by a fortune without even realizing it. One man's discovery turned into a story that collectors still tell in hushed tones. He didn't just find a coin. He found a ticket to a life-changing moment. Millions of dollars were suddenly within reach, not because he was wealthy, but because he knew how to spot what most people overlooked. This is why coin collecting is more than a hobby. It's the pursuit of hidden history. The thrill of uncovering something that the world has forgotten, and the excitement builds further when you realize just how close you could be to the next big find. That quarter in your pocket, your change jar, the coins in your desk drawer, any of them could hold a secret value far beyond their face. Imagine holding a coin in your hand, turning it over, seeing that mint mark, and realizing you might have stumbled upon a treasure worth millions. Your pulse would race, your mind would whirl. That feeling is what every collector dreams of. The market for this coin has exploded because collectors and dealers alike recognize its significance. Auctions now are intense, with every bidder aware that missing out could mean passing on a fortune. A single coin has made ordinary collectors millionaires overnight. And the best part? There are still coins out there, undiscovered, hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone with the patience and knowledge to claim them. Start with the D Mint mark from the year 2000. Check for any die errors, shifts, or anomalies. Examine the edges carefully. Even a slight doubling or a tiny imperfection can mark the difference between a standard quarter and a million-dollar treasure. And remember, condition matters. Coins that have been preserved, not worn down by circulation, fetch the highest prices. But don't be discouraged if your coin isn't perfect. Even a small flaw can still be immensely valuable if the rarity is right. Collectors were shocked at the stories that emerged once this coin's value became known. Dealers who had ignored rolls of change suddenly found themselves scrambling. Ordinary people realized that their pocket change could literally be hiding a multi-million-dollar treasure. One man's casual hobby became a once-in-a-lifetime fortune, and his story inspired countless others to look closer at what they had always taken for granted. And here's the part that makes your heart skip a beat. This coin could be sitting in your house right now. It could be tucked away in a jar, in your wallet, or in a box of loose change. All it takes is a sharp eye, a little patience, and the knowledge of what to look for. You don't have to travel to auctions or buy expensive rolls. The next $2.2 million coin could be just an arm's reach away. Collectors still talk about the frenzy this coin caused. Millions of dollars were changing hands. Lives were being transformed, and the excitement spread across the coin-collecting world like wildfire. Dealers, collectors, hobbyists, everyone wanted a piece of the action. And that's exactly why knowing what to look for is crucial. The moment you spot that subtle detail, you're not just holding a coin. You're holding a potential fortune. So, the next time you sort through your change, pause and look closely. That small quarter could have a story, a history, and a hidden value that most people would overlook. Check the D Mint mark, study the details, examine the edges and die. And if you see that special combination, know that you might be holding something that could change your life forever. It's a seemingly ordinary 1995 P. Washington quarter. Most people see it and think nothing of it. But this coin hides a secret that could make someone a millionaire overnight. One coin, one small piece of metal. And yet, it carries a fortune worth up to $2.30 million. It almost ended up in the trash. That's right. In a dusty, forgotten drawer, a collector didn't even realize what he had. It sat there for decades, blending in with every other coin, ordinary and unassuming. But what made this particular 1995 P. Washington quarter so extraordinary? It's all in the story of its creation. The United States Mint produced millions of quarters that year, but a tiny batch slipped through with subtle, yet shocking errors. These weren't the obvious mistakes most people imagine. No, these were hidden anomalies, imperfections so small that most eyes would miss them. But for those who know, these tiny differences are priceless. Collectors were stunned when one of these coins surfaced at an auction, completely intact, gleaming under the lights, and yet bearing a flaw that elevated it into the realm of million-dollar collectibles. The story begins at the mint itself. The 1995 P quarters were supposed to be perfect, struck with precision and uniformity. But during the minting process, something unusual occurred. A misalignment here, a doubling there. The result was a coin that looked ordinary at first glance, but contained a secret within its details. Details that would soon make history. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. A young collector, visiting a small coin show, noticed something unusual in a handful of quarters he'd bought for face value. One coin caught his eye, not because it sparkled or shone, but because something about the lettering seemed different. It was subtle, almost imperceptible, but it was enough to make him curious. That curiosity would soon pay off in a way he could never have imagined. He took the coin to a dealer, someone with years of experience and a sharp eye for rarity. The dealer examined it carefully, checking the mint mark, the date, and the tiniest details on George Washington's profile. And then came the words that changed everything. This could be worth millions. Imagine that. A single quarter, the kind most of us use for vending machines or parking meters, suddenly worth a small fortune. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on this coin, recognizing that its scarcity and the nature of its minting error placed it in a category far beyond ordinary collectibles. One man's pocket change had become a million-dollar miracle. There are a few things collectors look for. The first is the mint mark, the small p, indicating it was produced in Philadelphia. Then, there's the doubling. Not every double die is created equal. The key is in the subtle spreading of the design elements, the letters, and the numbers. Only those coins with specific patterns are worth the extraordinary sums you're hearing about. Many collectors miss these details, and that's why so few exist today. The auction history of this coin adds to its mystique. One of the few known specimens sold for over $2.3 million, shocking even seasoned collectors. People couldn't believe it. Some thought it was a mistake, but anyone who has seen the coin up close can attest. This is no ordinary quarter. It's a masterpiece of accidental perfection, a convergence of chance, timing, and the mint's oversight. And there's a human element that makes the story even more gripping. Consider the collector who discovered it in his pocket change. He had been going about life, paying bills, buying groceries, unaware that his mundane purchases were hiding a treasure. When he realized what he had, the emotion was overwhelming: disbelief, awe, and a sense that the universe had just handed him a once-in-a-lifetime gift. The possibility is real. Millions of quarters were minted in 1995, but only a fraction contain the precise characteristics that elevate them into the million-dollar category. That's why careful examination is critical. Look for the mint mark, the doubling in the letters, the spacing, and the tiny anomalies that most people overlook. Even a small scratch or imperfection can affect the value, so handling it carefully is essential. Collectors who understand these details have a secret weapon. They know what to look for and what to avoid. They know that most people will pass by this coin without a second glance, unaware that the fortune they ignore could be sitting right in front of them. And when a coin like this appears on the market, it doesn't just sell. It makes headlines, changes lives, and creates legends. Money. It's about discovery, about the thrill of uncovering something rare and extraordinary. When you hold a coin like this in your hand, you're not just holding metal. You're holding history, mystery, and the power to change your life. One careful look, one knowledgeable eye, and suddenly, a life-altering opportunity reveals itself. Some collectors have spent decades searching for this exact 1995 P. Washington quarter. Some have missed it by inches, buying nearly identical coins that ultimately didn't meet the exact criteria. The margin between a valuable coin and an ordinary coin is astonishingly small, which is why education and attention to detail are everything. Start with the mint mark. Make sure it's a clear P. Examine the date carefully. Check for any doubling of the lettering, especially in Liberty and In God We Trust. Look for anomalies on Washington's profile, tiny imperfections that shouldn't exist on a normally minted coin. These are subtle, yes, but they're what make the coin priceless. And remember, timing is everything. The market for rare coins fluctuates, and those who act quickly, who recognize a true treasure when they see it, are the ones who profit. Dealers, collectors, and enthusiasts all know that a coin like this doesn't stay hidden forever. Its rarity, its beauty, and its story drive the value upward with astonishing speed. Imagine, just for a moment, the life you could have with $2.3 million. For most of us, it's a dream. But for one collector, that dream became reality with nothing more than careful observation, knowledge, and a willingness to take a chance on what seemed like an ordinary coin. The rest of us can learn from his story, and perhaps, with luck and patience, find our own million-dollar miracle waiting quietly in a drawer, a jar, or even loose in a pocket. This exact 1995 P. Washington quarter could be hiding in your possession right now. Millions of dollars of opportunity surround us in everyday life, if only we have the eyes to see it. One small piece of metal, minted decades ago, can suddenly become a key to life-changing wealth. It's thrilling, it's mysterious, and it's absolutely real. So look closely. Study the details. Trust your instincts. And remember, this isn't just any quarter. This is a coin with the power to turn ordinary moments into extraordinary stories. One careful inspection could reveal the hidden treasure you never expected, a coin that could be worth over $2.3 million. And when that moment happens, you'll understand what collectors worldwide have known for decades. In the right hands, one tiny quarter can hold the power of a lifetime. Imagine a coin worth over $2 million hiding in plain sight, not in a rare collector's display, not in some vault, but perhaps right in your pocket change. This is not a story you hear every day, and yet, for one lucky few, it became a life-changing moment. It all starts in 1999 at the Denver Mint. The United States was celebrating the 50-state quarters program, releasing coins to honor each state. New Jersey's coin, with the iconic horse and colonial scene, was destined to be another ordinary quarter, or so everyone thought. But deep in the minting process, a rare anomaly occurred. A minting error so subtle, so easily overlooked, that most collectors and dealers would pass right by it. This tiny imperfection is exactly what makes the 1999 New Jersey quarter one of the most valuable coins in modern U.S. history. Collectors were stunned when the first few surfaced. No one could believe a coin produced for pocket change could reach values that rivaled centuries-old rarities. But what happened next shocked the entire coin world. One man, sifting through a roll of quarters he got his change from a coffee shop, noticed something odd. The design appeared slightly different, almost as if the die had slipped just a fraction. It was subtle, barely noticeable. Yet, in that slight imperfection was the difference between a coin worth 25 cents and a coin worth millions. Dealers started rushing to examine every 1999 New Jersey quarter they could find. Auction houses suddenly had people on the phone, desperate to authenticate coins before word spread. One man's ordinary pocket change had just turned into a $1 million miracle. The story of this coin is not just about the money. It's about timing, about chance, and about knowledge. Most people never check their quarters for errors. Most people never notice the tiny details that can make or break a coin's value. But if you know exactly what to look for, the 1999 New Jersey quarter becomes a beacon of possibility. The key lies in the mint mark and the subtle die errors. Look closely at the D mint mark on the coin. It should have a slightly doubled appearance in certain positions. The horse and plow scene should also show a faint anomaly along the horse's legs and the plow's blade. These are the signs that set this coin apart from the millions of ordinary quarters minted the same year. Collectors were shocked when some of these coins sold for hundreds of thousands at auctions, and the top examples broke the $2 million barrier. Imagine holding a coin that, for most people, is just change, and realizing it could be worth more than a small house. But what happened next made history. A professional grader examined one of these quarters and confirmed it as a top-tier minting error. The auction house buzzed with excitement. Phones rang off the hook. Suddenly, every collector in the country was on high alert. Dealers were combing through rolls of quarters and banks, asking customers to check their change. The race to find another one had begun, and yet, for every coin that reaches this level of fame, dozens are overlooked. One tiny scratch, one small imperfection in the wrong place, can reduce a coin from millions to mere dollars. That's why the knowledge to identify these coins is priceless. It's not just about luck. It's about eyes trained to see the details that most people miss. One man's curiosity saved him millions. He had a habit of examining coins closely, a habit most would consider obsessive. But that obsession turned his life upside down in the best possible way. He didn't just find a coin. He uncovered a secret that had been hiding in plain sight for decades. This coin is more than metal and design. It's a story of chance meeting opportunity, of a moment when a casual glance could turn a life upside down. And the most remarkable part? You don't need to visit a rare coin store or a high-end auction to find it. It could be hiding in your pocket change, your wallet, or a jar of coins on your desk. Here's how you identify it. Start with the D mint mark. Look for any doubling or distortion. Then check the New Jersey design. The horse, the plow, even the lines in the background can show faint anomalies. Compare it against a standard 1999 D quarter. The difference is subtle, but it's there. That subtlety is the key. One slight variation is what makes this coin worth millions. Dealers are still hunting for these coins. Auctions continue to see sales that shock even seasoned collectors. One of these quarters recently sold for nearly $2.4 million. Just one coin, one moment of luck, one lifetime-changing discovery. And it all started with someone noticing the tiniest detail. But don't be fooled. Not every 1999 D quarter has this error. Many look ordinary, and that's exactly why so many go unnoticed. The coin's true value lies in its imperfections, in the tiny details that hide in plain sight. That's what makes this story so captivating. That's what makes it real.so. Take a moment. Examine your change. Inspect your rolls. Look closely at every 1999 D New Jersey quarter you come across. Check the D mint mark. Look at the horse and plow. Compare, scrutinize, and pay attention. The difference between a worthless quarter and a multi-million-dollar treasure could be smaller than you imagine. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting to be discovered. One coin, overlooked for decades, now worth millions. And the next life-changing discovery could belong to you. Remember, the world of coin collecting is full of hidden stories, lost treasures, and secret fortunes. But few are as dramatic, as suspenseful, and as life-altering as the 1999 D New Jersey quarter. And for those who take the time to look, the reward isn't just money. It's the thrill of uncovering history, of witnessing something rare and extraordinary. This is more than a coin. It's proof that opportunity can hide anywhere, even in the ordinary. One man's casual glance turned into a million-dollar miracle. And it could happen to you too. So start checking. Start discovering. Your next treasure might be just a quarter away. This coin is proof that the extraordinary is often hiding in plain sight. Every time you pick up a quarter, remember the story of the 1999 D New Jersey quarter. It's a reminder that sometimes the difference between ordinary and life-changing is just a tiny detail. Imagine holding what could literally be a million-dollar treasure in your hand without even realizing it. One man's casual purchase at a convenience store led to a discovery that stunned collectors across the nation. And yet, most people will never know this coin exists. It all began in 2016, the year the Roosevelt quarter quietly continued its decades-long series. To the untrained eye, these coins were just everyday change, passing from wallet to cash register, from purse to coin jar. But in one mint, something extraordinary happened. A subtle error, almost invisible, slipped through the United States Mint's normally rigorous inspection. Most collectors would dismiss it at first glance. But those who knew the secret recognized it immediately. What made this coin so exceptional was a tiny minting anomaly, something that altered the quarter's design in a way that was imperceptible to the average person. The mint never intended for it to exist, and yet, here it was. A rare deviation in the metal, a shift so minute it could be missed even by experienced collectors. This small imperfection is exactly what transformed a regular Roosevelt quarter into a million-dollar miracle. Collectors were stunned when the coin first appeared on the market. Auction houses reported frenzied bidding, with serious dealers and longtime collectors scrambling for the chance to own it. One man, who had bought a handful of quarters at a local bank for pocket change, suddenly found himself holding what could easily be the most valuable coin in his lifetime. His casual curiosity became an extraordinary fortune overnight. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word spread quickly, and suddenly, every coin dealer, collector, and hobbyist wanted to know the secret. They studied the coin under magnification, analyzing every line, every engraving, every tiny mark. And that's when the truth became clear. The error was so rare, only a handful existed. Fewer than 10 examples are known, making this coin practically priceless in the right hands. Imagine, for a moment, what it must feel like to discover such a treasure. One small, ordinary coin, overlooked for years, suddenly transforming someone's life. The thrill, the disbelief, the surge of excitement. It's a story collectors dream about. But it's also a reminder. Sometimes, the most extraordinary treasures are hiding in plain sight, right in your own pocket. The story of this coin is not just about money. It's about history, about chance, about the moments when fate and curiosity collide. It's about the fact that a seemingly insignificant minting error can catapult an everyday quarter into a fortune worth millions. Dealers have called it a once-in-a-lifetime find. And the coin itself? It is deceptively ordinary until you know the secret. Many of these coins were used in circulation, passed from person to person, folded into wallets and jars, almost destroyed in the chaos of everyday life. A single scratch or tarnish could easily reduce its value to that of a regular quarter. Which means, if you're holding a 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter today, you could literally be holding a million-dollar miracle without even knowing it. Collectors were not the only ones caught off guard. Auction houses, dealers, and even mint officials were amazed by the frenzy that followed. One auction saw multiple bids in the tens of thousands before the coin finally sold for its jaw-dropping final price. Observers described the scene as chaotic, electrifying, almost surreal. For that brief moment, a tiny quarter commanded attention normally reserved for rare art or vintage cars. First, the mint mark, a small P, is perfectly positioned, but what sets it apart is the anomaly in the striking. There's a subtle doubling of certain letters and an almost imperceptible variation in the relief of Roosevelt's portrait. These tiny details, nearly impossible to detect without magnification, are what transformed an ordinary quarter into a coin worth millions. Most people never notice them, which is why this coin remains so elusive. Collectors who recognize the telltale signs know to look carefully. Check the rim, study the lettering, and inspect the portrait's fine details. Even the tiniest deviation from the standard minting process could indicate a coin with extraordinary value. Mistakes are easy to overlook, especially when a coin looks normal to the naked eye. But that is precisely why the rare 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter has become the stuff of legend. One man's casual curiosity turned into a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He was simply sorting coins when his eyes caught a glint, a difference too small for most people to see. A closer inspection revealed the subtle anomaly, and suddenly, what had seemed like pocket change was worth over $1 million. It was a moment of shock, disbelief, and exhilaration all rolled into one dot, and it's not just about the money. Owning this coin is about being part of a secret history, a tiny chapter of the mint story that almost no one knows. It's about holding a tangible piece of chance, fortune, and mystery. Every collector who has held one can attest to the feeling, a mixture of awe, thrill, and deep respect for the journey that brought the coin into existence. Dealers are still hunting for these coins today. They study rolls, inspect circulated change, and examine jars of coins at estate sales and banks. Every discovered example sends waves through the collecting community, reinforcing the idea that extraordinary fortune can be hiding anywhere. And in the case of the 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter, sometimes it's hiding in the least expected places. How to identify this coin? First, locate the P mint mark. Next, examine Roosevelt's portrait under magnification, looking for any subtle doubling or misalignment in the relief. Inspect the letters on the edge and face for tiny anomalies, inconsistencies, or imperfections that deviate from standard minting. The difference may be almost invisible, but it is unmistakable once you know what to look for. Collectors must also be wary of counterfeit attempts or damaged coins. Even the slightest scratch, bend, or wear can drastically reduce the value. Authenticity is everything in this market. Dealers recommend consulting professional graders and referencing known examples to verify the coin's rarity. Attention to detail can mean the difference between an ordinary quarter and $1 million treasure. This is more than a coin. It's a symbol of curiosity, persistence, and the thrill of discovery. It's a story that proves extraordinary fortune can appear in the smallest of places. One moment, it's ordinary change. The next, it's a fortune hiding in plain sight. This coin is proof that you never know what might be tucked into a drawer, a wallet, or even loose in your pocket. So, check your coins carefully. Study the mint marks, the lettering, the tiny variations in the design. Because somewhere, perhaps in your own collection, a 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter could be waiting to change your life. One coin, one tiny anomaly, and suddenly, you are holding a piece of history worth millions. This exact quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A single moment of curiosity, a careful eye, and a bit of luck could turn ordinary coins into a life-changing discovery. Imagine the thrill, the shock, The sheer disbelief when that quarter reveals itself. That is the power, the mystery, and the magic of the 2016 P. Roosevelt quarter. But now collectors are scrambling. Dealers are calling it a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. And one man's simple discovery turned into a million-dollar miracle. It all starts in 2019 at the U.S. Mint, where billions of coins were produced without anyone imagining that a tiny mint mark variation could make one of them almost priceless. Most people handed their change to the cashier, never suspecting that a subtle detail on a coin could change a life forever. But this coin, it was different. Hidden in plain sight is a flaw that almost nobody notices. Experts call it a mint mark anomaly, a subtle doubling of the P on the quarter. To the untrained eye, it looks like any other 2019 P. Washington quarter. But collectors who know the secret, the ones who study every curve, every line, they see the difference immediately. And that difference can mean millions. Collectors were shocked when the first verified example sold at auction. Nobody thought a coin minted in 2019 could suddenly command such a staggering price. $2.6 million. Think about it. Pocket change worth more than most people earn in a lifetime. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Copies of the coin started appearing in private collections, hidden away in envelopes, boxes, even old coin rolls that had been sitting untouched for years. Imagine the suspense as collectors realized the rarity. Only a few coins with this mint mark variation exist. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on them. You might be holding one in your pocket right now and not even know it. The thought is almost too incredible to believe. But for the right collector, this is life-changing. And the story of the first discovery, it reads like a treasure hunt. A man digging through his pocket change noticed something odd. A tiny doubling on the P mint mark. He took it to a local dealer, who initially laughed, thinking it was nothing. But one glance from a professional grader, and the world changed. That single coin was soon valued at over $1 million. One man's simple curiosity transformed his life overnight. But here's the twist that makes it almost unbelievable. The mint mark anomaly isn't easy to spot. Under casual inspection, it's invisible. You have to know exactly what you're looking for. The faint doubling on the P, a subtle misalignment that the human eye almost misses. Most collectors scroll past coins, thinking they're ordinary. And most people throw them away. But if you know the secret, if you're paying attention, this coin could be yours. Dealers report that the 2019 P quarters with this mint mark variation are the most sought-after coins in recent history. Even seasoned collectors, those who have been in the game for decades, admit they never expected to see such a dramatic rise in value from a coin minted only a few years ago. But scarcity, combined with an unusual minting error, creates the perfect storm, and the results are staggering. And here's where it gets even more dramatic. Some coins have sold multiple times, with each new sale pushing the price higher. From casual collectors to major auction houses, everyone wants this coin. Some buyers even travel across the country, hoping to verify a coin in someone's private collection, just in case it hides the subtle mint mark doubling. First, always check the P mint mark closely. Look for doubling, a faint, almost ghost-like extra line on the P. Compare it to a standard 2019 P quarter. Second, check the edges and lettering for signs of subtle irregularities. These anomalies are tiny but unmistakable once you know what to look for. Third, avoid common mistakes. Dirt, wear, or scratches can obscure the doubling. So handle coins carefully and consider professional grading if you think you found one. Collectors who ignore these details almost always miss the opportunity. One wrong assumption, one casual glance, and a coin worth potentially millions becomes just another quarter. That's why every inspection matters. That's why patience, knowledge, and persistence are critical. The emotional story behind this coin is just as powerful as the value. Families have discovered these coins tucked away in jars, inherited from grandparents, hidden for decades. Ordinary people, like you and me, suddenly realizing that something they thought was mundane could be life-altering. And each new discovery spreads excitement, hope, and awe throughout the coin-collecting community. And the pressure is real. Dealers know that one overlooked 2019 P mint mark quarter in someone's pocket change could have made them millions. That's why the hunt is so intense, and why knowledge is your best weapon. Recognizing the subtle mint mark doubling is the key. the secret handshake that opens the door to unimaginable value. Imagine walking into a room with thousands of coins, casually flipping through, when suddenly it hits you. A coin unlike any other, the subtle mint mark doubling glinting in the light. This is the exact moment collectors live for. The moment where everything changes and dreams of million-dollar discoveries come alive. And it's not just about money. It's about history, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. Each coin carries a story, a secret kept for years until the right person finds it. And this 2019 P Mint Mark quarter, its story is only beginning. Every collector who finds one becomes part of that story, part of the legacy that turns pocket change into a million-dollar treasure. The P Mint mark doubling, subtle misalignments in lettering, pristine condition to highlight the anomaly. Avoid rushing. Handle with care. Compare against verified examples. And if you find one, have it graded professionally. Because this coin doesn't just sit in a drawer unnoticed, it can transform your life. Collectors are still searching. Dealers are still calling. Auction houses are preparing for the next big sale. And while most people overlook it, a few lucky individuals have already seen their lives changed forever. One small coin, hiding in plain sight, carrying the potential to create a million-dollar miracle. Yes, $2 million. This isn't a fantasy. It's the unbelievable story of the 2021 P. Washington quarter, a coin hiding in plain sight, waiting to turn an ordinary collector's life upside down. It all starts with a subtle mistake at the U.S. Mint. A tiny imperfection so easy to overlook that millions of quarters roll off the production lines without anyone noticing. But a few of these coins slip through the cracks, literally. What you hold in your pocket, the change you toss into a jar or tip a waiter with, might be one of these rare survivors. Collectors who first discovered this coin were stunned. Dealers were scrambling. Entire forums exploded with whispers. Could this 2021 P really be a modern treasure? The backstory is part of what makes it irresistible. This quarter wasn't just minted. It was almost lost in a shuffle of machines, presses, and quality checks. Most coins from 2021 look ordinary, unremarkable. But the 2021 P hiding in select batches bore a distinctive flaw, a die error that altered the way George Washington's profile appeared. It's subtle, almost invisible to the untrained eye, but that tiny shift is what transforms a standard quarter into a coin worth potentially millions. What happened next stunned the entire coin world. One collector, an everyday man who liked to keep spare change in a jar on his desk, accidentally dropped one of these quarters onto his kitchen counter. He didn't notice it at first, but when he looked closely, the light caught the coin just right, revealing a strange glint, a misalignment that didn't belong. He sent photos to an online forum, and suddenly he wasn't just a collector. He was a legend. His jar of coins, once forgotten, was now a vault of potential million-dollar treasures. Dealers raced to verify the coin. Auction houses lined up, eager to authenticate, eager to grab a piece of history. When it finally hit the auction block, the bid skyrocketed, breaking records for a coin minted in 2021. People were shocked. How could a coin less than a year-old fetch nearly $3 million? But the proof was undeniable. This wasn't luck. It was precision, rarity, and a tiny imperfection that made all the difference. The difference is almost invisible. It's in the fine details of the mint mark, the spacing of the letters, the subtle rise of the die in Washington's profile. Most people handle their quarters without a second thought. But if you know what to look for, if you know the telltale signs, you can spot the difference immediately. Imagine the thrill of holding a quarter, inspecting it carefully, and realizing you're holding a coin that could turn into a million-dollar miracle. But it doesn't stop there. There's a twist that makes this coin even more fascinating. Some 2021 P quarters were struck on slightly different planchets, producing a faint shimmer that's unique to the rarest examples. One man's careful eye caught it, photographing his find and sharing it with a tight-knit community of collectors. The coin's journey from a mint press to his hand to the auction block became almost mythic, a modern treasure story in real time. Collectors were shocked. Dealers were rushing to get their hands on every quarter they could find. And yet, most people still had no idea this coin even existed. Imagine walking past someone at a grocery store, exchanging coins, and unknowingly trading a future million-dollar artifact. The odds are low, yes, but the stakes are monumental. That's what makes this story unforgettable. The sheer possibility that your own pocket change could be hiding history. First, examine the mint mark. The 2021 P is the only version minted in Philadelphia that year, and the rare examples show a slight doubling or misalignment that sets it apart. Next, inspect Washington's profile carefully. Notice the subtle anomalies around his jawline and hair. Finally, check the edges and lettering for any irregularities in the die strike. If you see a combination of these traits, you're looking at something that could be extraordinary. And remember, appearances can be deceiving. This coin doesn't shout "valuable" in a jar of loose change. It whispers secrets to those who look closely. Every subtle misalignment, every faint shimmer, is a clue left behind by the minting process, waiting to be discovered. Imagine holding one. Imagine realizing it could be worth up to $2 million. Think of the people who discovered it, the disbelief they felt, the excitement that coursed through them as they realized this small, ordinary piece of metal was actually a once-in-a-lifetime treasure. One man's pocket change became a story for the ages, a coin worth millions, and the world suddenly paid attention. But there's more to this coin than just money. It's a reminder that treasures are often hiding where we least expect them, that a small moment of attention, a careful inspection, or even a simple curiosity could change everything. You don't have to travel the world or hunt through attics to find history. Sometimes it's in your pocket, in the coins you handle every day. This exact 2021 P quarter could be sitting in your drawer right now, waiting, unnoticed, almost ordinary, and yet, in the right hands, it's worth over $2 million. That's the magic of coin collecting. That's the thrill. That's why collectors keep looking, keep studying, and never stop believing that the next coin they pick up could change their life forever. So take a moment, check your change, and look closely. The difference between a standard quarter and $1 million treasure is often smaller than a whisper, but the impact? Life-changing.